Shall we starting? Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi and a very good morning to all. Welcome to University of Malaya Center for Civilizational Dialogue, at least virtually, especially to Associate Professor Dr. Boon Kwee from the Department of Science and Technology Studies or Jabatan Pengajian Sains dan Teknologi, Faculty of Science. Our speaker for the talk today, entitled Preparing Policy Brief, Communicating Research Evidence to Influence Policy. Before we move on, I would also like to convey the salam from Yang Berbahagia, Prof. Datuk Dr. Azizan Baharudin, the director of UMCCD, who is now on her way back from her Umrah trip. I think it is an established fact, ladies and gentlemen, that each country has its own policies on various matters. Conventionally, experts and academicians are active contributors of suggestions and critical views on the existing policies or new ones. This is in order, of course, to improve situations and to assist in developing a prosperous and harmonious country. Hence, the writing of a good policy paper on specific issues or topics is very important in ensuring the content get conveyed and included in the policies which will help in developing the nation. A good and timely example of this matter, I think, is the much awaited budget presentation, which is coming, which will be held on this coming Friday, 7th of October. So we can assume that it is backed by various policies of the different ministries and other organizations. Let us all hope that one of these days, after listening to or learning from Dr. we will be giving good input to the policies for the budget in the future. Who knows, right? Based on results of our good research, backed by good information and of facts, and just as important, that the input is written well so that it can be accepted by those in power. It would be very sad if we have good information, we have got good research results, but it cannot be conveyed well to the power that be. So Prof. Assoc should be of benefit to us, whose research results will directly or indirectly give input and impact to the various policy planning in the country. Okay, so a quick introduction to Associate Professor Dr. Boon Kwee, our speaker. He is the head of department at the department. He is the head of department at the Department of S&T Studies, Science Faculty since 2020, where he teaches technological innovation management, technology entrepreneurship, and science policy. So this is well suited to his PhD in the field of technological innovation management and his research, which primarily focuses on policy and management of S&T. So he is currently leading research projects on social innovation and inclusive development. Dr. has been invited as consultant, as a resource person of consultancy projects commissioned by both international and international agencies, such as Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, International Development and International Development Research Center Canada, Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, our MOSTI, and Academy of Sciences in Malaysia. Dr. is also currently the editorial board member of Asian Journal of Technology Innovation and member of International Scientific Committee of Asian Association of Learning, Innovation and Co-Evaluation Studies. It is also with pride that I share with you that Associate Professor Dr. is the recipient of Asian Universities Alliance or AUA Scholars Award for 2019 and 2020. A belated congratulations, Dr. Ng. A more detailed info on him can be accessed at our expert. That is, you just Google his name and plus expert, UMEXPERT. So without further ado, let us all welcome Associate Professor Dr. Boon Kwee. Dipersilakan.
Thank you, Dr. Dulia. First, just a quick check. Can you hear me clearly? Is my mic okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So before I start, I think better for me to share the screen. All right. First of all, again, thank you, Dr. Dulia, okay, moderator for these sessions, for the kind introductions on my profile. And then thanks also to UMCCD to provide this platform to share with me some of my learning experience, okay, on preparing policy brief. Actually, just for information, I don't call myself a policy makers. Later in my sharing session, I'll try to go through actually who are policy makers. Okay, myself, I don't call myself a policy makers. I'm a researcher like you all, okay, and try to translate my research into something that have a more impact in terms of influence policy. That's why the title of this webinar comes. I suggest a title, Preparing Policy Brief, Communicating Research Evidence to Influence Policy. So, like the moderator, okay, Dr. Duria mentioned just now, you can just call me okay, I'm for Department of Science Technology Studies. Currently, I'm attached to science faculty. So my area actually more to science policy, innovation management, and social innovations. So the various aspects related to science and technology development. So in these sessions, so what we will cover, preparing policy brief is a very broad subject. It should be a hands-on workshop. It's quite a challenge to do it in terms of online, but nevertheless, let's try to benefit from this 90 minutes. I try to have the session in 90 minutes or less than that. I have 19 content slides with me. Okay, sorry for the typo. Okay, I have 19 slides to share my learning experience. And I will share some policy brief examples to give you a more clear idea how a policy brief look like. And the whole session will cover 4 subtopics that is stated here. I will start to introduce policy and policy brief. What is policy actually, and what it means by policy brief? Is it the same thing, or actually they are different? What policymakers is looking for? So when we preparing the policy brief, we need to know that how our policy brief is something that appropriate and fit the interests of the policymakers. Then what are the main components of a policy brief, and how to start our journey in drafting a policy brief. So that will be the 4 main subtopics that will be covered within We'll try to do it within 90 minutes, including the Q&A sessions. All right. So before I go to the first topic, let me put it into the context. All right. Again, as I stated just now, when you discuss policy brief related our research is too broad to cover everything within this 1.5 hours. So based on my own expertise, my own experience, I try to put into the context of this discussion into. So for this session, I will try to look for something is more practical. All right, so that's academics. I believe many of you are here because this is the time that we're preparing our proposal, grant proposal for next year FRGS or other type of grants. So what our requirement is that what are the impacts that your proposed proposal able to put forward in terms of policy and social contribution. So I will try to do something more practical on how can you make use of these sessions to help or benefit your grant proposal writing. Second, it's more focused, this session more focused on public policy. Yes, policy can come in many forms. We have public policy, okay, from the government, but sometimes organizations themselves also have their own policy, okay. Their policy at different level, macro, meso, and micro level. So we look at something is more macro for national. So I will focus the content of this session to be something more public or macro level of policy making. Because my background is more to science and technology, that's why you can see that later in these sessions, most of the example I use will be in the field of science and technology. But I believe that the same example also is useful to other disciplines like other social sciences disciplines, okay, both basic research and applied research and so on, okay. But I just want to put a note here, maybe later you will feel that some example that I put up here is more to science and technology related policy. And we will discuss the topic from the researcher perspective. Different people, different stakeholders come with different perspective. But this seminar, we try to discuss, okay, in terms of the researcher perspective. So this is more related to our position as a researcher in university. So that's it, okay, the context of these sessions. So let's look at the first topic, okay, subtopic, policy and policy brief. So from time to time, I receive many questions asking what is meant by policy, you know. So when we preparing policy brief, that means that we are writing a full policy documents. So this is something that usually come to me, okay, both for my colleagues and also for my students. So let's look at 3 bullet points, not many, just 3, to let us understand what is meant by policy. So I'm talking from the perspective of public policy. So in general, public policy are documents enacted and recorded the action of government takes to address public issue and meets the needs of the citizens. So public policy initiated, developed, and enacted or approved at the level of government. So most of the time, I don't want to say all, but I will say that most of the time is is a government initiative to develop that policy. Because at the end, the whole policy will get the buy-in from the government. Government here refer to the ministries as well as the various public agencies like EPU. We have like MIMOS, a lot of public research institutions like MADI, MPOB, and etc. Okay, so those are government and government agencies. They are the one, usually they are the one that initiate, okay, the need to formulate or to renew the policy. Policy can become in a form, some people name the policy document as policy. That is quite straightforward. Okay, now we come to the second bullet point. Okay, it's quite straightforward. That document is named policy. Sometimes different agency will use different terminology. Okay, that you will call it development plan. Okay, you have our 5 years, every 5 years development plan. Some call them action plan. Some in the form of roadmaps, frameworks, blueprints, and etc. Okay, so when we talk about policy here, so don't just limit our understanding or our vocabulary just to stick to policy, but there are other form of document come in, and they are policies, like the few ones that mentioned here. Okay, and the last point here is prepared and commissioned by ministry and agencies. Sometimes the ministry will be initiate the policy making process, but they will commission it to the consultant. They're very frequent. Okay, they give to consultant to do it, both local and international consultant. They also give appoint consultant team from the universities. That's how I involved in some of these workshop or focus group discussions. Okay, they call us to provide a proposal to bid for this policy making project, or right into a project. So some of us, okay, I think I believe some of you here involved in those kind of consultancy based project. So the main point here, the whole screen here just to tell us that first, normally policy making is prepared and commissioned by the government. Second, don't just look at policy, but there are other documents come in the form of policy, like the roadmap, action plan, blueprint, and frameworks. Just to give you some feeling, okay, these are some of the policy documents. Okay, look at it. We start from the first, National Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy. Okay, pay some attention to the name, how they label, how that agency framed the title of that document. So the first one is the one that we are always come across when we preparing our grant proposal. Okay, National Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy. We have the second, 10-10 MY SDIE frameworks. Okay, so it's a framework. Look at that. They don't use they don't name it policy, but frameworks is considered one type of policy. Surely in your preparing for grant, I think you also need to refer to this document. So There are also policies that related to very specific technology and very sectoral based. Look at here, okay. The third one, dasar dan strategi nanotechnology negara. So if your research is on nanotechnology, yes, you can contribute. Okay, you can provide some of your outcome or evidence from research, contribute to this data. Okay. Next, plan strategic. Okay, this plan strategic for Kementerian Science, Technology, and Innovation, mostly. This is what I mentioned. Okay, even for mostly the Ministry of Science itself, they have their own strategic plan. Okay, to guide the direction of the development of science technology in the country. Then we move a little bit faster. We have Malaysia Startup Economy Roadmap. You see, roadmap. National Fourth Industry Revolution Policy. Then Dasar Biotechnology Negara. Okay, if you come from biotech background, yes, you see that there is a policy for you to contribute. The very recent one, okay, during or after the COVID, we have National Vaccine Development Roadmap. What else we have? The few that I suggested just now are really science and technology based. But now look at the other policy like shared prosperity vision. Okay, the one, if you're aware, the one that replaced Wawasan 2020. Okay, we have Draft Malaysia Plan, Malaysia Education Blueprint, dasar keselamatan ICT. If you are for ScienceCom, okay, that's your area. Or you are in security or law, okay, that's your cyber law, okay, that's your area. National Automotive Policy, okay, our friend for engineering. And then look at the one that here, unleashing the power of social entrepreneurship. Malaysia Social Enterprise Blueprint. You see, blueprint. And then the last one I able to put here, the industry for the national policy on industry 4.0. Okay, so that's a few example. Okay, to give you some idea what is meant by public policy. Then if you look at this diagram, okay, before we move on to more detail, just have a look at this process. It starts from agenda setting, okay, mostly driven by the government. Then they start the policy formulation. So the policy formulation here is how a researcher can participate. I will go into more detail on the second part, the policy formulations. Third, after the policy is formulated, approved by the cabinet, then policy adoptions, policy implementations, and finally policy evaluations. So for a perspective of a researcher, if you ask me, okay, my personal view from my experience is that we can contribute a lot in the stage 2 policy formulations. We also can contribute in terms of number 5. Okay, you look at number 5. If your research is trying to study the effectiveness of that certain policy after its implementation for several years, then your research has a potential to contribute, okay, give comments and how, for example, how to make a policy run better, create a better impact, and so on. So the focus of researcher, from my own view, is at number 2 and number 5. most of the time, this also try to conclude actually what to summarize what I presented just now. Yeah, top down and bottom up. The policy maker in the country engage these two approach. Okay, top down. The country have, for example, okay, the ministry have decided want to move into industrial 4.0, for example, focus on nanotech, promote startup enterprise. So there's already a top down. They want to move into that direction. So it's a centrally defined policy directions. Okay, it comes from the consensus among the various agency and ministry at the top level. Then, when they have all they start the policy formulation process, then it involves a bottom up dimension. That is how us as a researcher able to contribute. We are very hard to go into that top down because it decided by the top. But somehow researchers like us at the grassroots, okay, we can contribute in terms of bottom up, okay, dimensions. When the Kementerian, the agency start the policy formulation process, they will have a lot of this kind of public consultation sessions. They have a focus group discussions with the stakeholders engagement. So this is a time they call or they ask, okay, they send email or they put their websites, okay, to invite the interest, okay, researcher that working in that area. If you are interested, okay, have interest, then you can join those sessions. It's a public consultations, okay, type of approach. So if, okay, you are you think, okay, your research able to contribute, or you think your expertise able to contribute in that form, then yes, you can. They will always welcome you to their sessions. Okay, so try to look at some of this bottom-up approach. If I think from time to time, the university will send email, okay, or forward emails, okay, from these agencies, okay, calling for experts, calling for on the voluntary basis, okay, you can attend their sessions, have your network there, share your idea, and then make use of your research. Okay, so come back, okay, to these main questions here that I asked since the very beginning on my first slides. Is policy brief a public policy? My own view is that to me it's not. Okay, policy brief can contribute to the development or formulation of public policy, but a single policy brief cannot. I don't think it can become a public policy. All right, I believe many of you, all of you will have a same view on this. Okay, public policy is for the whole country. All right. So as a researcher, our project sometimes focus on a very specific area. It's not aim to take care to the whole country interest. So in that sense, in that context, we are just providing the outcome of research to contribute to a very specific area or specific issue under the whole ecosystem or the whole framework of that public policy. So that's why, to make my points clearer, let's look at the first bullet point here. Policy brief is a kind of concise and short report. Okay, a report produced based on the use of research evidence to facilitate and inform policy making process. Okay, so you prepare policy brief to inform policy making process. Okay, so don't get into too excited and put into your grand proposal and say that you want to at the end of the project you want to have a public policy. I think that is too ambitious. Okay, to me, if you say that you're able to deliver a policy brief, okay, to consult or as a reference to provide insights, okay, for a policymaker to consider when they come to formulate the public policy. I think there's something more appropriate and more achievable. Policy brief is considered as part of a many comprehensive and complex inference policy formulation process. Like I mentioned just now, the process of policy formulation is very complicated, involves many activities. Policy brief is just one part of it. It's just one instrument or tool or channel that you can extend, okay, your research outcome for the benefit of the country in terms of policy making. The third point here, yes, it's really related to us as a researcher. It is evidence-based on empirical study on public issue and suggests practical and action-oriented solution to public issues. All right. So I believe most of our research is based on evidence, especially those involve empirical study. You collect data, you analyze the data based on the model, your frameworks that you establish. You go for interview, for example, you compile cases, you make case analysis and so on, and then you capture the interview, you capture the baseline information, you capture, you observe the behavior and patterns of what happened out there. That's all are very useful, are very to provide something that practical. Okay, and when you translate that into a action-oriented solutions, then it provides a lot of value to policy making process. Okay, it is stand-alone and presented to a non-specialized audience. Yeah, important. When you drafted a policy brief, okay, it just looks like you draft article sent to journal. That article should be stand-alone. When people read the article, they understand actually what you try to argue, try to debate, and what you will suggest. Okay, at the end of the article, it's a stand-alone. For policy brief, also in the same setting or format, is a stand-alone. When people read that policy brief, it should understand what you want to tell and what you want to inform, and take notes on. When it comes to policy making, it involves many stakeholders, the audience from different disciplines, okay, at different level of understanding on the issue that you try to talk or discuss. So try to make it understandable for non-specialized audience. I have more this what I call elaboration on this part. Okay, when we go on. All right. So for researchers, okay, policy briefs summarize the core problem of their research and extend evidence-based solutions, the best options to inform policy decisions. So this slide actually again try to summarize, okay, what I mentioned just now. It's a tool and channel to promote and disseminate of your research outcome. Go beyond traditional academic publishing. Okay, creating wider impacts as one of the project outcome for longer term. All right, when you prepare policy brief, you don't expect immediate impact. Okay, you need to be patient. Unlike article, all right. When we write article to publish in a journal, okay, after you struggle or dealing with the editor, reviewer, maybe in 6 months to 1 year, you see your article published in a journal. Okay, so you are quite happy with that. Okay, you see your paper published or captured somewhere in WOS or in Scopus. Okay, and people can start downloading your paper to read. Or for example, you publish a book. Okay, the same thing. Okay, but when you write policy brief, okay, most of the time, you don't expect, okay, today you write a policy brief and send to certain agency give you a thank you or appreciation letter to acknowledge you. Okay, sometimes we not sure what will be the outcome of that. Okay, maybe your policy brief one day will be, you will put, okay, they will use it, okay, into their policy making, or they will just keep it there. Okay, people forget about it. Okay, because officer in public policy change quite frequently. You're not sure where eventually, okay, your policy brief will go to. Okay, and you don't see it appear after that. So that is the thing. Okay, that you don't expect. Okay, you see this as something that you want to contribute. Okay, to the country. Okay, from your research. Okay, but you don't expect something come in return. Okay, immediately. You need to be more patient. Okay, when you deliver this policy brief. Okay, so can policy brief provide policy input influence? I think the answer should be very straightforward. Yes. Okay, your policy brief. Okay, what you can do in your policy brief. Okay, deliberate issues and challenges, inform process and state of the art, especially for those in very science, engineering. Okay, at the cutting edge, your research related with the cutting edge of the technology development. Okay, your paper, your policy brief can, okay, inform, okay, the community or agency about the status. What happened? For example, you talk about nanotech. What's the current status of nanotech? How the technological development change and pattern of nanotech. Okay, we're talking about IR 4.0. Okay, data security. So what are the state of the art? If your research is on that, there is a potential, okay, for you to turn your research evidence into a policy brief to inform the policymaker. So I believe that many of our research can be turned into this kind of policy brief. Policy brief provide visibility of your research. Yes, this is the one that I keep mentioning. Provide visibility. People know you. Okay, policymaker seldom read article in a journal. Okay, they are not in that sorry, they are not in that quote unquote world. Okay, they are not reading an academic journal, but they read a lot of this kind of policy brief, policy papers. Okay, and if, okay, they come across your your write-up, okay, the policy brief you produce, they might want to call you and consult you and include you as part of their team when they come to devise or develop a new policy. That's why I say, okay, when you prepare a policy brief, you don't expect a quick return. You need to be patient, okay? If you are really good, okay, in that area, you provide visibility based on your research. One day they will come to you, okay? They ask you to join their team, and then that's it, okay? That's how we build our profile, we build our network, okay? Policy brief is one way to go. Researcher as a resources person, consultant, expert, yeah, they will come to you in the form to engage you with a research person, consultant, experts, okay? When we should provide visibility of research, okay? Our job as public academics is to better convey complex academic material to policy-making audience in a way that is immediately accessible and useful. Okay, so again, this is something that I try to emphasize. Okay, it's a non-academic type of writing. You have two platforms, okay, to create visibility of research. You have two platforms. First platform, the one that you are already usual, common, familiar, is by journal. That is academic. Okay, I believe all of you are very good at that part. But there is another platform, is non-academic, that have a great potential for you to venture into. That is providing this policy brief. Okay, don't forget, for other dimension, you can write to a newspaper, magazine, blogs, and so on. That also way to provide visibility, but I think that's not the main focus of discussion here. So I will be more focused on policy brief. All right. So that's it. Okay, I spent some time, okay, to put this into more to crystallize what is policy brief, and how can we as a researcher able to participate in that, to make it easy for me to move forward for my subsequent subtopics. Okay, if that part, the background is clear, okay, we are in the same understanding, then we will proceed more, what I call it, we can proceed better with my following subtopics. So, who are policy makers? This is a question that I also asked at the very beginning. Who are policy makers? Siapa pengubah dasar? Who are policy makers? Yes, I say that, okay, like just now, the moderator read my CV, I participate, I contribute, okay, in their workshop and so on. But I wouldn't call myself policy makers. Okay, I contribute, we contribute, many of us here contribute to the policy making process. Let's make it clear. You provide policy brief, you provide your research evidence, you contribute to that process of policy formulation. Okay, but it doesn't mean that who are policy makers actually? Is policy maker a profession? That's my second question. Okay, to put the context, is policy maker a profession? We have scientists, we have engineer, we have lawyer, what else? We have architect, okay, consultant, and so on. Okay, we don't see. For example, you go to newspaper, you look for a job. Nobody will advertise a job position as a policy maker. Am I right? Okay. Do you see any job advertisement calling for position, in the position of policy maker? I never encountered those. Okay, from my best understanding. Okay, policy maker is a general terms. Okay, the ones the people is policy making. Policy maker say is a group of people. Okay, usually in Malaysia context, usually the top management at the ministry level, agencies, okay, and the key a few key persons, okay, in the area. They are the one that make the final decision, okay, after the consult and getting evidence from, for example, from us researcher. Okay, so to me, okay, we don't call ourselves policy makers, but that is okay. This is okay. But we can contribute in that policy making. Okay, so let's have that understanding. Okay, maybe during Q&A we can have some debate on this. Okay, we open. Maybe we have some different view on this. Okay, who are policy makers? Okay. But the intention for me to put up these slides, okay, is actually what are they looking for those policymakers, okay, what are they looking for? They are looking for the content, okay. Remember, they try to solve the problem. The Kementerian, the agency try to solve a public issue, a problem. So they need to find some content, some evidence to support, okay, their policy. They want something like, for example, well-defined issue in line with the national development agenda. Okay, so you are the researcher in that field, you are the expert in that field. They will refer to you. Okay, what are the main issue, the real issue, the burning issue in that particular area? They want reliable and validated empirical data. Yes, this is what we always do in university as a researcher. We have a reliable data, and all those data is validated. Okay, they look for data. Okay, and they look for innovative solutions, the practical, achievable, and measurable. So they want solutions. If your team, your research have consult and do have a few works, then you might have a lot of very innovative solutions. A good solution, a novel solutions, okay, not the outdated solutions, okay. So those actually is something that as a researcher that we do usually and commonly. Not a problem for us to provide this problem if they come to us, right? And then other than content, they look for something into a style of presentation with focus, concise, understandable. This is what I mean, okay? Policymakers from different background, they might not understand the jargon, scientific terminology, complicated research methodology, and so on, okay? In your thesis, on your paper, they want something simple but valid, can provide them a good value. Visual appear, something that interesting, you can visualize it into a diagram, picture, flow chart, and so on. They are looking something like this, okay, to consult them on this. Okay, so when they come to the process of formulating that policy, they can make use of your contribution into that visual presentations. Okay, so yes, this is what actually policymakers or the ministries, when they develop policy, they will look for this kind of material. Okay, we are good. Okay, most of us good in terms of content, but we have to admit that it's quite challenging for us to prepare a style, a presentation that able to fit into their interest, something that easy to read, easy to understand. Okay, I think there's typo there. Sorry again. All right, something that can be easy to put it into a visual. Okay, so that's first part. Okay, so we again a quick summary of that. We can contribute into content. If then we can work on that style of presentation. Okay, if you really want to turn your research outcome into a policy brief. Look at this diagram. I think most of you also come across this. They call it a quadruple helix innovation model. Okay, also a term that frequently cited, quoted when they call for research project, okay, proposal. They want to see that your research must be something fit into this quadruple helix. So what is quadruple helix? Last time people talk about triple helix, now quadruple helix. Quadruple helix means that your project, okay, you work on a project, your project should be able to address issue related to 4 stakeholders. First, the government, the needs of the government. Second, the needs of society. Third, the needs in terms of academic research. There's more to knowledge, theory, understanding. Number 4, business. Business includes the firms, okay, the private sector. Okay, just now the society might include the NGO. So you look at this, okay, do you have a platform to engage with these stakeholders? I believe most of us, yes. Okay, when they go for proposal, I think most of us, our project or proposed project can be linked to any, maybe 1 or 2 of these stakeholders. Then try to find actually how your project able to fit into the interest. For example, society. I think one of the outcomes for our project, our proposed project, will contribute to societal development, contribute to the industry development. Okay, contribute into theory. Yes, that is already academics, and contribute to policy making. That's government. So it's not that difficult. Okay, I try to avoid using easy, but I will put it's not that difficult to try to connect your research to any one of the stakeholders here, and then start to develop your proposal, start to position your proposal in that way. Okay, so this is another one that when policymakers look for a project, okay, they want to see something related to this quadruple helix. All right. Okay. I think these are 10-10 STIE frameworks. Okay, by Academy of Sciences Malaysia again. All right. I think you can. It's not that difficult again to connect, okay, your research to any one of the dimension here. Okay, whether you are very science-based or very social science-based, okay, you can contribute. For example, education, culture and arts, okay, smart city, okay, water and food. So there are a lot of ways, again, to connect, okay, your research to the interest of the policy maker. If you still can't find your way to connect it, then come here, SDG. Everything under the sun is here. The the only thing that you need to put a narrative explanation on how to connect your projects, your proposed project into their context. Okay, so there are many frameworks, many model, okay, that actually out there, okay, to help you or try to guide you, okay, how to position yourself, your project into something that can have positive impact. Okay. All right. The third one. I think there's something in the checkbox. Maybe I will come to that, okay, later. All right. So before I proceed, is that okay? On your side?
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to something more specific to what we actually doing every day, okay, when it comes to publications. You look at here, okay, so I put the subtitle here, turning existing research to policy brief. Okay, so now we will come into more how to create the strategy. Okay, how to create the strategy. We have a thesis journal or article journal article. Most of the time, okay, in the thesis or in the article, we try to have it's a more attractive title. You will have an abstract. You will have an introduction. Okay, sometimes you put a background. We have a very thorough, very extensive literature review to form the conceptual framework, the conceptual basis for your thesis. Then we explain in detail the research methodology. We present our data and analysis, and then we will end our thesis or our paper with discussion, implication, and conclusions. So that I think is a common or standard thesis format, or even when it comes to writing our journal article. We say we put in the context that you already have that information. Okay, you already have those information in your thesis, in your article. So now when you compare to the next what I call it on the right hand side, okay, from the slide, what policy brief actually looking for? What are the main component that in general should be there in policy brief? You must have a very attractive and impactful title. A lot of time, you will start with executive summary. You have the introduction, and then following by the context of what you try to discuss. You define the main problem that you intended or attempt to provide solutions. Then straight away options and evidence what you have. Then your proposal, your recommendations and implications. So quite similar, but if you are sharp enough, you will realize that the difference between thesis or article journal with policy brief is that in terms of, for example, literature review, okay, we know that literature review is something very academic, okay, but in terms of policy brief, you are not going to put all your literature review into this policy brief. Maybe you can put it somewhere a little bit into your introduction, into your context or definition, but that's it. Don't develop 20 or 30 pages of literature review to inform your conceptual basis when you try to try to deliver your policy brief. This first, okay, you don't see a very lengthy wording complicated literature review in policy brief. Second, look at research methods. In thesis, in journal, yes, we want a very detailed, very solid research method and approach. What are the research tools that you have used? Okay, but when you come to policy brief, they are not really particular about that. You can put it somewhere, just a few lines to explain how you get the data, and then you just present the data. Thesis will take you 200 to 300 pages. Journal article, if in social science, maybe it take you 20 pages. How about policy brief? Normally, how many pages? The number of pages for policy brief varies or difference, okay? Some even just have 2 pages. 2 pages can be a policy brief. 4 pages, 10 pages. I think the most you will go to 20 pages. That's already a lot. That's already a lot if 20 pages. A lot of time, it was just below 10 pages, 5 to 6 should be the best. Again, policy maker, they are busy. They don't have time to read very lengthy write-up. They want to know exactly what you want to tell. 5 to 6 pages should be good for them. Don't forget 5 and 6 pages, including all your diagram, your visual, and your references, selected key references. So that's how, in general, a policy brief is structured in that way. Okay, put in the context of if you just want to deliver 5 to 6 pages. Okay, so you need to choose a very specific topic to talk about, not your whole thesis. Okay, maybe just a main research question that you want, you turn it into policy brief. Just focus on that for that 5 or 6 pages. Present your data. They want data again. They want the data, and they want your recommendation and implications. That should be the main focus of a policy brief. So, yeah, some will have more problem, no problem, but it depends, different people, different researcher, okay, how you see this different and how you can adapt and adopt, okay, yourself, okay, into that policy brief. There are some example. There are some example of this policy brief. Okay, later, okay, after this, I will show a few examples in PDF file. If we want to know more about, to take some, look for example, okay, you can go to all this link. Okay, I will share my PowerPoint with the secretariat, and I'm not sure. Then it's free. Okay, you're free to share it. Okay, with the participant here. Okay, Harvard Kennedy School. Okay, they have a lot. They have created a site. Okay, to host this policy brief. You can have some example here. But in more Malaysian context, okay, the second example here, Institute of Strategic and International Studies, ISIS. Okay, the website address there. You can go there and look for some example. UNICEF Malaysia, they also have a dedicated sites, okay, hosting some of the policy brief series that they developed. Institute Masa Depan Malaysia, relatively a more is a new agency. They also start getting and serve as a platform for researchers to contribute into a policy brief. All right, let me okay, so you can look at this, you can see it, okay, for your screen now. This one example, a policy brief, okay, from Harvard Kennedy School. The title of this policy brief is Autonomous Delivery Vehicle. Why you should care and what you should do. Look at that. Attractive title, impactful. All right. This is the one that policymaker will come if you say that, okay, what should the country do? Okay, what are the things that become our main concern in terms of autonomous delivery vehicle? I go down, okay, look at here, okay, just get some feeling, okay, don't take the content very serious here, just look at how a policy look like, okay. For this document developed by Harvard Kennedy School, it's just 9 pages, including the images and notes. So that's why I say, okay, concise, okay, should be very brief. It's a policy brief, like it should be very brief. Introduction, the state of the art, and I will move on faster now. You can see that, okay, they have a. Can you see my screen here?
No, Doctor.
We can only see your PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing. Okay, I will share again.
Okay.
Can you see it now? All right. Can
Yeah,
I?
okay. Yeah, can.
Okay. Sorry for that. Okay. So this example, okay, Harvard Kennedy School, okay, they have this policy document. Okay, the title, as I mentioned just now, is very impactful, attractive for policymaker. And look at the content. Okay, they have only 9 pages, including the images and notes. Okay, so the main content is just about 6 pages. I mentioned just now, 5 to 6 is already good for them. And yeah, this one way. Okay, yes, images again, make it attractive, provide visual. They put in images, image, notes. So this first example, okay. Second example from Malaysia, Institute of Strategic and International Studies, okay. The policy brief, the title, Saving Malaysia's Middle Class Post-COVID-19. Okay, it's very contemporary, okay, catchy title when you talk about COVID-19. Okay, so how this policy look like? Again, okay, just have a quick look. Okay, data, provide data, charts, yeah, okay, this will be very attractive to policymaker. You help them to visualize the process, okay, and yeah, charts and so on. So it's 11 pages, 12 pages like that. We have more example, okay, like UNICEF, start with a photo, you know, make it attractive as possible, and photo, images, and these are recommendations for policy. The last one, wait there. I can see my third one. But never mind, let's forget about that. Okay, the last one. Okay, so come back to my PowerPoint. Okay, again, can you see my PowerPoint now?
Yeah, can.
Yes, yes.
All right. So there are many examples. Even you type in Google, you type policy brief template. You can see a lot of template there, a lot of example. Okay, pick one that it's more appropriate to the context that you try to discuss, and then you can start. Okay, I think this is more a more practical way for us that still learning. Okay, how to develop the policy brief. Okay, this will be the last part. Okay, this will be the last part. Okay, for these sessions. When this something that just a reminder. Okay, reminder. When we drop the policy brief. Okay, again, try to position yourself in the context of policymaker. Policymaker wants something that understandable, avoid technical jargon, for example, concise, practical, and viable. Focus. Okay, what you want to discuss, what you try to propose should be very focused within that 5 to 6 pages only. Professional, but not academic. Okay, just make it you are presenting something to the corporate. Okay, to the minister. They are not academics. Okay, so based on evidence, the last one, okay, visual appeal, that you can use different colors, pictures, slogan, illustrative statements. Even you want to have a logos on that. So this is a quick reminder, okay, to myself, and also you think is useful for you, okay, something that you can start applying it, okay, when you are trying to turn your research outcome into policy brief. Okay, this part is something that I just developed this morning. Okay, it's quite different from what I presented just now. If just now the focus is more on you already have the grant, you already have the project done. Now you're thinking of how to convert that into policy brief for whatever reasons. Okay, for your national contribution or even for your own KPI and so on. Okay, you already have the data, you already have evidence. You try to turn it into some sort of this policy brief. This slide, I think the last slide, okay, is for you. Okay, I know that I mentioned now we are all in the process to develop, to fine-tune our proposal. Sometimes, okay, you come back with a comment, say that asking you to have more impact to the policy or put policy out as one of the outcome in your proposed project. So how to do that? Okay, how to do that? So to me, this slide actually is developed based on my own experience. Okay, again, it's really a personal experience. Okay, not tested in other platform. I can't promise that if you put all these things, you will get a grant. No, that is impossible. Okay, it's my own very own personal experience. So it's to try to share my experience how to put some statements, in your research proposal. Try to convince a panel. That your research proposal have some significant contribution in terms of policy development. Surely I talked about policy development. So state the significance of the proposed project too. Okay, so when you talk about the significance of your project, I think you have this in your executive summary, or maybe in your introduction somewhere. If you want, you can put some convincing statement like this. How I say that? It means this project, this proposed project, it provides empirical evidence to inform policy or decision making in what? All right. So this will be nicely capture the interest if the panel or the donor want something in terms of policy. You provide empirical evidence. All of us provide, all the research provide evidence, right? Second, you can consider to put like this. This project establish or revisits the framework or model, depend in what context you want to put it, to capture the real baseline performance evidence or data for what? Okay, so your project has significant in terms of to establish or to revisit the current framework or model that you think is not sufficient to serve in terms of collecting a baseline info or evidence. You can put in that way. Then what else you can say? You can promise in your proposal. This project, you will reach or revisit policy instruments or strategy for what? This actually for those that actually your project is related to policy studies. I think this is very useful for you. It observe what and provides insights into what. Okay. It contributes to policy innovation. Policy innovation, a new way to come up with a policy. All right, we call it policy innovation. It enlightens us on novel processes, tools for policy design that result in better problem solution on what? Okay. We provide them with alternative policy options, policy instruments, policy framework, and etc. So those are the terms that you can throw in, okay, put it somewhere, okay, and try to convince the panel, okay, hopefully. It provides new understanding on policy design for greater impact to society or community in what? Okay, the last one, okay, it's just come to my mind, I put it here. It is research-based policy making. This project is research-based policy making in nature and it what. Okay, so these are a few quick tips. Maybe you can call it tips or how to frame how to put some statements that can better convince a panel, okay, on how your proposal able to contribute in terms of good and ungood policy. Surely, if you have all these statements there, then you need to consider looking at your research objective, okay, your methods and so on to make it in line with what your statement here to justify how actually the whole proposal is more coherence, okay, and is coordinated in a better way. If you have all these statements as the significance of your project, then what I say that you need to look at your objective, okay, your methods to really reflect actually what you try to promise here. All right, yeah, that's all. Okay, I'm not sure if within 90 minutes or not, but thank you, okay, for your patience, and I hope you benefit from these sessions. Maybe I can stop sharing here.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Boon Kwee, for that insightful talk and a lot of tips for us. For your information, Dr. We have currently about 31 registered participants who are mostly related to itself, but there are also others from other universities. We also have, for example, I just mentioned one, Associate Professor Dr. Zul Ilham from USA. He's now there, and I don't know what time he's there, so he's here also listening in. So I think we will open up for a question and answer session, but for your information, we already have a few questions that have been typed up in the chat box. Maybe we'll go into that first while others are coming up or formulating with questions brief for you. Let me see. Let me just read it out. Okay, I'm going to read out the first few ones accordingly. So the first one is from Prof. Siti, Faculty of Science. Thank you, Prof, for being here. The question is, many MNSC consultancy agencies with big data analytic capabilities are influencing national development policy and roadmaps, etc. In this context and prospect, how could or should our local researchers fill the gap and provide foresights fitting our own social economic realities and needs? You may want to answer that one first.
Yeah.
Actually, there will be like 4 more, Prof. Dr. So that you know.
All right.
But we may run.
Yeah, maybe just
noon, but for those who need to leave, by all means, we are not going to stop you, but we hope Dr. Can be around to answer all questions.
Okay, thanks, Prof. Siti. Okay, nice to see you here, Prof. Siti. So yes, many of the government agencies, okay, favor, okay, to those established, okay, consultancy firms from abroad. But you look at the current trend, I think what's the current trend now? Most of the government agency now is more, they are looking for a local consultant as well. Okay, so what we can, I have also experience working in this kind of setting. When the agency engage a foreign consultant. So what foreign consultant will do is that they will get some local experts, okay, into their team, okay, to understand like what Prof. Siti said, that the social economic context, okay, in Malaysia. So as a researcher, as I say that when a foreign consultant get this project, why they come to you, okay? So it comes back to the thing that I mentioned just now, okay? When you are visible, when they know that you are expert in this area, they will come to you. I'm not able to answer why the government go for foreign consultant. Okay, that I think not the main the discussion here, but how can we tap in, provide our visibility, okay, to participate in foreign consultant firms when they're conducting their study here. They will look for not only the your academic, but they are looking for all this policy contribution into policy brief. Sometimes, a lot of time, it's an agency that suggests them to approach certain researcher locally. Okay, so how to get people to approach you, that is by the key questions here. So it's try to develop something, okay, not academic, very academic way, okay, try to share it with people, okay, increase your visibility. The whole thing is about visibility and so on, and convince people that you know that the process of this policy formulation, you have a good connection with them, that then they will come to you. Okay, so I hope that I answered that first questions. Okay.
Okay, yeah, Prof. Siti. I will just move on to the next one. I think the next question is more towards your program. So I will leave that to last. Sorry, yeah, anonymous person. But I'll go to the next one by Cheryl. Question from Cheryl. The question is, can a policy brief be an effective tool for policy influence? Could you share any success stories? Thank you.
Yeah. To call it effective or
cannot
not.
hear you, Dr. Ang.
Hello, can you hear me?
You mute yourself. We cannot
Yeah,
hear you.
can.
Can, right?
Yes.
All right. Effective or not? I'm not able to answer because both we can as a researcher, we can suggest our solutions to the government or policy makers. Then at the end, whether your suggestion will eventually getting the buy-in from the stakeholders, that is beyond our control. Okay. So effective or not, it can be an effective tool, okay, for their reference. Okay, for their reference. But when come to the real decision making, whether to put it into the policy or not, and bring it to cabinet, okay, then I will say that sometimes, okay, it's not that favorable to us. Okay, could you share any success stories? I don't have any success story to tell, okay. But I just try hard, okay, if there is a focus group discussion, okay, I participate and so on. So when you attend this kind of focus group discussion, you involve in their panel, then to me, okay, more important is you develop the network, okay, with them. You know what is the current needs, the current direction of the country, okay, in particular area, and then how to bring it back to your own research, how to align your research in that directions. You are able to do it, then you stand a bigger chance, opportunity to get granted. Okay, I always try to advise, you know, I will tell myself, can I develop a research proposal that can immediately serve like a consultancy research to the government? Okay, so if I know about actually what the government want to do, and I quickly submit a proposal in that fit to their intentions, then if that proposal come to the table, or okay, they will see why not they take this project. If they take my project, then they will save the money to engage other consultant, because my research, if is successfully, achieve, able to produce what I promised in that report, in that proposal, then I can provide some useful insight to them. So that's how to strategize to me. Okay, when you participate in all these working group discussions, so one way is to get the network, know the current trend, and how to position your research into their favor. Okay, so thanks, Cheryl, for that. Cheryl is my PhD student actually. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, she signed up of his jabatan. She's from Jabatan Perlindungan Data Pribadi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Policy maker.
The
Yeah,
next
policy
question,
maker.
thank you, Cheryl. The next question is from Shahira Sulastri. The question is, how can we find balance in the language between researchers and stakeholders?
How to
I think
find
because just now you talk about it shouldn't be too academic and all that. So how do we find the balance?
put the I would advise
Okay, all right.
try to look some policy documents, then you have a better understanding. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Doctor.
All right. So try to look some document. Okay. A few one that I suggested just now. Okay. Try to have some feeling. You read the policy, the real policy, then you understand. The way they put the structure, the sentence is really straightforward, very smooth. A lot of time, when academicians try to write, we try to put a lot of comma, column here and there, and we try to make the sentences quite complicated. I don't know why, because maybe our mind is complicated in such a way. So we put it, maybe not many people will understand what you try to tell. Try to read a real document policy, especially the 5-year Malaysia development plan, Rancangan Malaysia. Okay, you see that the structure of the sentence is really nice. When in a school, right, we are taught that all sentences must have an object and predicate and so on, right? So you can see that they follow that kind of structure. So that the sentence is that the idea is nicely presented and smoothly. Doesn't require you to think in very deep. Try to interpret yourself. When you so that's the thing that I can't really visualize that here, how to balance it, but I can suggest you to read on some of this policy, okay, to have some feeling, okay, on how actually they structure the paragraph, they structure the ayat.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ng. Another question from Prof. Siti, moving on. Gita Wirajawan, in his Endgame show, highlighted that many influential change leaders have their training in public policy. Shouldn't this increase the stake for quality academic program on public policy beyond documentation? And I think this sort of tied up with another question related to program. I'll just read the second question. Yeah? This is from another person, but this question says, in UM, I presume science technology studies is one of the programs, if not the only program that trains students or scientists nowadays with skills and knowledge related to policy writing, etc., or to be a generalist or all-rounder. It is such a waste when the university decided to close down the bachelor program. Will such training or course or program be introduced again by the department as special courses, if not via bachelor or postgraduate program? So I think it's kind of related. So I read to you both questions.
Okay. We have two questions here, both very lengthy. I hope I'm able to capture actually what they want to ask. Okay, our participants. Let's go to the first question by Prof. Siti. Okay, it said that should we have a quality academic program on public policy, definitely yes, you know. But one problem is that when we talk about public policy, okay, yes, most of the time when you offer an academic program, it's more to concept and theory and so on. So, but we can have it in different way, like more in terms of short course or a workshop like that. Because I think when you say that you try to, for example, in the context of this today webinar, policy brief, how to write policy brief, it should be very, you know, the ideal thing is that the arrangement is that we have a workshop, we do it together, so you learn the techniques, okay? So that kind of environment need to be there, okay, when you start talking about how to have a quality, okay, program, okay? It doesn't mean that you have to be academic programs, okay? In UM, we already have some program actually looking at policy, public policy, okay? Not only just to put a note here, not only Department of Science, Technology Studies, but other faculty, okay, social science, faculty in social sciences, okay, and we have Impuma, for example. They have also have program and specialization on policy, public policy. So the resources is separated around in Gibraltar. We have an expert on that. But what I try to say here is that other than like what position, other than academic programs, maybe try to have this kind of workshop. Okay, they have people come together to share their experience and so on. I think that will be a more how I say that, more attractive way, okay, to translate all these things into a practice. So the second question about the status of a SDS program, what's the question is about? Whether we have intention to,
Yeah, something like that. Why is
okay,
it, you know, if it's a good program, why are we stopping it? And is
okay.
it alternative to it that is good, that is being planned,
So
other than having a webinar by CCD?
okay, yes, different
Okay.
people at different level of management were sitting differently. Okay, so so the decision here is that that program at the undergraduate level is stopped. Okay, but what we are trying to do here, Carl, is try to develop that program, okay, into a postgraduate level. Okay, because there are some strong view thinking that SDS, this kind of nature, can provide more influence at the postgraduate level, because you are dealing with a mature student. We talk about policy, you know, develop policy for so on. We talk about connecting science to society. You need some student that actually at that level able to absorb, okay, that kind of multidisciplinary approach and concept. We might not agree with that, but that is some strong belief that SDS can perform better in that context. So that's why, okay, they encourage and motivate us, okay, to venture into postgraduate studies. So very soon, for all the audience here, very soon, we will introduce a new master program. The title is Master of Science Communication and Public Engagement.
I see.
Fully approached by Ministry of Higher Education. And we plan to launch it in this coming second semester. So this is a quick promo, of this program. So then I think we move on, okay, and we try to find a niche area of SDS, okay, how they are able to contribute both to the country and also in terms of academic programs. All right, I think that's my answer to that questions.
Thank you, Dr. Ng. I
Yeah.
think during this question and answer, it's also you're giving us a signal here for us, for at least the MCCD maybe to have a follow-up to this particular webinar, so that maybe you can have a face-to-face, and if there are people who are interested, they are ready to write policy brief, they can just join. That's one. Second, I don't actually dare to say this, but can give you ideas. You can actually start having this small workshop one day or something like that, where you can charge people, to learn about writing out our policy brief. I think like what you have given to us freely today. It's something that your department may think of having, or maybe have it co-organized with our CCD. Let's see whether there's any more question. Oh, I'm supposed to remind everybody to fill in the post-event survey via the link, so that we will get input on how to improve our there you go, so that we can get input to improve our webinar or events that we are going to have. Okay, so I think I know that I myself actually have questions, but I'm not sure whether you are able to entertain it. Actually, to be honest, I want to ask a very quick but cheeky question here. Could a policy brief be written to be manifesto for political parties in the coming GE15? That will be the last question, Dr. Ang.
Pardon, can you hello? Can you
Okay,
state
we can
again the
hear you.
question?
Yeah. Can I repeat the question?
Can you repeat the questions?
Okay, my question is quite cheeky and just being naughty here. Can a group of people or whoever write up a policy brief that can be used, that is for manifestos for political parties for the future GE15 or GE16 or whatever? Can a policy brief be a basis for manifesto or few manifestos for political parties?
In reality, I don't quite challenging. I don't say cannot, quite challenging, because manifesto like in this PRU and so on. Sometimes yes, you can contribute, but you will see that you want to develop for that purpose. I think that is not a good way to go. Okay, mean that you send your policy brief to certain. Why I say that we serve the government. We serve the government. We provide policy brief to the agency. Okay, and if you want to say that to more focus on serve certain political parties, then is subject your personal what you call a stance. You can do that. You have that resources to do that. But I think as a researcher, the quick way to do it is that to serve the government. Government here means that the ministry, okay, the agency and so on, provide our inputs, their policy making and so on. Okay, so yeah, it's a tricky question, and then you can debate this over 1 hour. You can't find the answer to this. Okay.
Okay. I just want to end with a cheeky question here. Okay, so it is hoped that the talk, which is aimed to give exposure to formulating policy, to the method or style or format which can guide the writing or the preparation of policy brief. And also actually in the last part, the very last part, Dr. Ng also shared with us some key statements to be used for relevant research proposal. Thank you for that also, Dr. Ng. Has been successful, that the webinar we had has been successful. So Dr. Ng, I think you have already contributed to the elevation of the level of interaction or dialogues of the citizens, like us participants, with those officially formulating and implementing policies in this country. I'm sure after this particular talk, some of us would look back at our students' thesis or our own thesis, our research, and come up with a brief, I think. So thank you again, Dr. Ng. I would also like to thank the Secretariat of UMCCD for enabling this event to take place, to Mr. Chang, to Mr. Ahmad, to Madam Nurlisa. And to end this, I would like to hand over the session to the Secretariat for photo session. Dipersilakan. Ahmad, is it? Or Lisa?
Can we have everyone to turn on the video if possible?
Okay.
To do a screenshot of photo shooting here. Okay, we shall take the first screen. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have the second screen. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you everyone for attending the workshop.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to organizer, thanks to moderator, and thanks to all participants for your time. Okay, hope you
Thank you, Dr.
you get some useful info for you all.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, very much. Thank you. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
stay safe. Take care.
Okay, we may call you again for face-to-face workshop then. Okay, thank you
Alright.
all. We will, if
Okay.
we do that, we will of course advertise it to everybody. Thank
Alright.
you.